Hi everyone, and welcome to the Alaska TV Weather Show. My name is Joel Curtis. I'm a meteorologist, and here we go today. So, starting out with our Alaska weather headlines, one note that we should take care of is that the Tanana River will remain high through this weekend. Not expected to go to flood stage, but just about bank full right on through Sunday. This is due to some glacier melt, some snow melt up in the mountains. Also the bit of rain that we've had recently, that's added to it. So just a little bit of caution there if you got to use the Tanana River over the next few days. Also, we still got some patchy smoke from fires that did not quite get enough rain. Some of the fuels out there are actually going to take about 2 inches to really dampen them down. So there's still some smoke out there. And here's an interesting fact. Anchorage got its first significant rainfall since March the 5th, and that was snowfall. It snowed a bunch here in town. So Anchorage, you're back on track to get a little wetness. So, speaking of fire weather, looking for today, there's minimal lightning. I noticed a couple of strikes on the BLM detection. Also, the temperatures were cooler than normal, which is also really good for fire behavior. And humidity's in the 30s for the interior. That's about average or so, but it's still a little bit moist to keep things from really taking off. The outlook is for wetting rains for South Central Friday and Saturday, and temperatures remaining near or cooler than normal. So that's looking good. Looking at our fine fuel moisture, there's still some areas of very high dryness in the grasses. So we're looking up toward the northwest, and that's the areas that we've still got to keep an eye on. Also, the spruce index in the north central interior is still high to very high. So we've got to keep an eye on the fire danger. We're not out of the woods yet. So looking at our satellite imagery, we've got that wave that went across, a little cold front. It's over at Dawson now, and that system is kicking out. We've got some organization over near the Gulf of Anadir, and we also have a low down by AKwx or so, and that's starting to form up. And then also we have an old low off of Haida Gwaii that is still causing a little bit of precipitation in the Panhandle. And so I wanted to show you a true color image of what's going on today. There's really quite a mixed up and weak system out in the Gulf of Alaska. And then you look at that system that's out south of AKwx or so, that system is just forming up. There's also a little bit of organization going on in the central to northern Bering Sea, and that's going to affect us this coming weekend. And then most of the shower activity is now in Canada. So looking at today's weather, we've got 1,006 millibar low over near the Alcan border. The thunderstorms are all the way over in the Yukon Territory and some in British Columbia. We have 1,000 millibar low that's down south of Haida Gwaii there. That thing is not doing very much. But we do have that 1,004 millibar low over in the Aleutians that's organizing, and a trough that stretches across the central portion of the state. Looking for tonight's weather, that trough still maintains, and those showers out there in the Bering Sea, again, that's just getting organized or so, and that's going to merge with that low that's coming up at 1,001 millibars later on tonight. Notice that the low in the Gulf of Alaska has slipped to the southeast, and we do have some high pressure over the Chukchi Sea and also into the Northwest Territories. And then for Friday, that low remains a center right around Fairbanks or so, and then we have that low is really, really weakened in the Gulf. Meantime, that 999 millibars is spinning up in the Aleutians, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that system, and that is a rain bringer. And then we look at Saturday's weather, get a load of the extensive rain really over the state. I mean, that system is wound up. It's down 995 millibars, and we have some thunderstorms over the Alcan border, but not expecting anything specific in Alaska or so. Warm air coming up with that system, and then a couple of bands of colder air in that system as it approaches the state. So looking at our low temperatures Friday morning, 40s and 50s across the coastal areas in southeast and also into the south central area. And then our highs on Friday afternoon, they're really tamped down, in the 60s and upper 50s, and then over in the 60s as you get over into southeast Alaska. And then for Saturday morning, we've got some, again, some lows in the 50s for the Panhandle, down to 49 for Gulkana, but generally in the 50s as you get over across South Central. And then for Saturday afternoon, look at those highs. They're still in the 50s, but you got 60s over in the Panhandle, so a little bit warmer over there. For the North Slope, temperatures some down, one below freezing for Dead Horse, otherwise, in the 30s and 40s. But as soon as you get down south of the Brooks Range, you'll start to see those low temperatures, 50s and 40s. And then as we get to Friday afternoon, temperatures warm up a little bit on the North Slope, but not very much, but still almost touching 70 for a lot of locations. Looks like Fort Yukon is going to get to 71 in more clear skies. And then for Saturday morning, again, temperatures down in the 30s, but not quite close to freezing, and then in the 40s as you get further south, and you see a couple of 50s. And then for Saturday afternoon, again, temperatures in the 40s, raising up to 50 along the North Slope, and well into the 60s as you get further south. Out the Alaska Peninsula, low temperatures in the 50s and 45 for the Pribilos, 47 for Shemya. And then as we get up in Friday afternoon, we see temperatures in the 50s and 60s for a lot of locations. Then for Saturday morning, down into the 50s and 40s. And then Saturday afternoon, we get temperatures back up into the mid-60s or so. A lot of 50s out there in the Bering Sea and the Aleutians. So looking at our 6 to 10 day outlook for July the 20th through the 24th, just issued today, we're really thinking below normal for the vast majority of the state, including the southwest interior. We're getting a little bit below normal there. Pretty good chance of that happening. And then looking at the precipitation for that same time, above normal precipitation. This is really, really good news. If this pans out, this will help to really end the fire season. So we're thinking about 6 to 10 days out, July 20th to July 24th, getting a little bit, pretty good chance of above normal precipitation, which really should start to moisten things up quite a bit. And then for our 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, again, note the bullseye of below normal, pretty good probabilities for the western and southwestern interior, staying below normal. And then as you can see, most of the state is still tagged, with a fairly decent chance of being below normal. So we're really counting on this cooler temperatures. It's generally due to southwest and west flow aloft that we're getting, and looks like it's going to be the persistent pattern. If that pattern holds up, that could really begin to end our fire danger once and for all for this season. But we still have to keep an eye on it. Those models are not all that perfect as you get out that far in the future. So we're going to keep an eye on this and see if we can cool this situation off here. Now let's look at the precipitation for 8 to 14 days. And again, almost the whole state is tagged above normal. It's not the strongest probability I've ever seen on one of these charts, But with that moisture coming in and southwest and west flow aloft, we draw some moisture in from the Bering Sea, we draw some moisture in from the Gulf of Alaska. It does look like a pretty good setup to get precipitation above normal with a fairly decent probability. So the way you read this chart is, 50% means that it's a little bit better than uncertain that we're going to get that above normal precipitation. So we really want to take a look at this flow. The upper air patterns that I got a look at earlier today really are tagging this. So there's more confidence in the 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook than I've had for a while. Again, looking at those, looking at the flow pattern from the southwest and west, which is our flow pattern to get a little bit more moisture, again, dragging it in from the ocean. So that's it for our weather. Now, again, remember that the Tanana River is going to be high through the weekend. We also want to remember that we are running cooler than normal temperatures. There'll still be some areas of smoke for those fires that did not get enough precipitation, so that's local, but there'll be some areas of really good flying this weekend. And then finally, I want everybody to keep paying attention to the weather and stay really safe out there. And thank you for spending the time with me, and everybody, again, have a very, very fine weekend. Thank you.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Hi everyone, and now for your aviation weather forecast. Starting out with our flying weather Friday morning, we have extensive IFR over the Bering Sea, up into the Aleutians, and approaching Cold Bay, as well as into Bristol Bay, and a little bit of the ocean capes down in the southwest. Also some IFR over the Chukchi Sea into the Beaufort Sea, and we have an area of IFR in southern southeast Alaska. Extensive marginal VFR in the southwest interior and on up into the Chukchi Sea area, and also some marginal VFR for Cook Inlet across to Bristol, across to Prince William Sound, and then northern southeast Alaska. And then for our Friday afternoon weather, marginal VFR now all across southeast, including Yakutat Bay and down into the Panhandle. IFR has moved into Cook Inlet as well as Prince William Sound and across Bristol Bay, all across the Bering Sea, including the Pribilos and the Aleutians. Also some IFR has moved into the Utqiagvik area, and we're having to deal with still some smoke, isolated areas of smoke, into the Brooks Range, central interior, along the Alcan, and even down into southwestern Alaska, where some of the fires didn't get that much rain. And then looking for Saturday morning, again, areas of smoke all along the Brooks Range and into the central interior, including some of the southwest. The IFR conditions have moved now for northern Cook Inlet, Prince William Sound, and over toward Yakutat Bay, as well as an extensive area along the North Slope, and IFR, of course, over the Bering Sea, down into St. Paul area, also across the Aleutians and on in across Cold Bay. For Saturday afternoon, we've got an area of isolated thunderstorms on the Canadian side of the Alcan, as well as still some areas of lingering smoke. Some marginal VFR up to the Brooks Range into the central interior, as well as marginal VFR for much of Cook Inlet, but lower Cook Inlet still has some IFR along with Kodiak Island, Prince William Sound, Yakutat Bay, and northern southeast Alaska. Some of the IFR has, again, moved across the Aleutians into Bristol Bay, and including the Pribilos and marginal VFR elsewhere along the southern coasts. So looking at our pass conditions, Anaktuvik Pass, VFR tomorrow, along with some smoke. Adigan Pass, VFR with some areas of smoke. Lake Clark and Merrill Pass, marginal VFR becoming IFR and smoke along the western entrance. And Rainy Pass, a marginal VFR with smoke along the western entrance. Windy Pass, VFR becoming marginal VFR and smoke along the northern entrance. Isabel Pass, a marginal VFR, smoke along the north entrance. And Mentasta Pass, marginal VFR becoming VFR, still some smoke lingering along the north entrance. Also Tanita Pass, marginal VFR becoming IFR. Portage Pass, marginal VFR becoming IFR. Chilkoot and White Pass, VFR, and dropping down to marginal VFR in the afternoon. Looking at our freezing levels, we've got some surface freezing level along the North Slope coastline, but then we have a temperature inversion, so it goes up to about 2,000 feet above them, and then as you can see, it starts to ramp up as you go further south. So we got 6,000 to 8,000 feet over most of mainland Alaska, as well as 10,000 feet to 12,000 feet in the southwest, and then over the Panhandle. And you drop down to about 8,000 feet in upper level low south of Shimia or so. Looking at our icing on Friday, we have an area of isolated moderate icing along the North Slope, down across the Chukchi Sea coast and into Kotzebue Sound, roughly about 1,000 to 4,000 feet or so. Again, isolated moderate. And then looking down toward southeast Alaska, we do have an area above 10,000 feet. It extends way out into the Gulf, but also includes Yakutat Bay on into Canada and just about all of the Panhandle. So talking about that smoke a little bit, there will still be some smoke in our flying weather due to some of the fires just not getting quite enough rain to stop all activity. So we've got still some fires going out there, and that's going to be producing smoke. So y'all fly safe out there, and thanks very much for tuning in.
Welcome, stargazers. One of our most frequently referenced star patterns is the Big Dipper. It's famous all over the world. Let me show you. Hit the darkness at about 11 p.m. and face northwest. High in the sky, you'll see these 7 stars. Dubhe, Merak, Phecda, and Megrez form a bowl. Alioth, Mizar, and Alkaid make a handle. That's the Big Dipper. But these 7 stars have lots of names and stories. In Arabian lore, the bowl is a coffin with mourners following it. In some Native American tribes, the bowl is a bear with 3 hunters chasing it. In part of Europe, it could be a wagon, chariot, plow, saucepan, even a fishing net, or a meat cleaver. And in East Asia, it's often a ladle, while in India, it's a saptarishi, or 7 sages. No matter what you call it, the asterism has helped humans navigate across the planet for millennia. So raise a glass or a ladle to this asterism and keep looking up.
If you've been watching this series, you know that NASA has scientists posted all over the world studying Earth's frozen regions. We've got people exploring ice sheets, glaciers, permafrost, sea ice, snow, and even ice on other planets. But even our top scientists need a little backup sometimes.
Do you like going outside to do science?
Yeah,
Why?
because it's fun.
Yeah. What's your favorite part?
Frost tube.
Frost tube! Cool!
In this bonus episode of Cryosphere, we're following the micro-explorers that are helping NASA collect data from their own backyard.
Do you think it's going to be frozen?
Yeah.
Yes? Why?
Because it's very frozen!
Here's the idea. Students construct a frost tube that gets put into a hole in undisturbed and uncompacted soil. During the cold months, students will measure the depth at which water in the frost tube freezes, indicating that the surrounding soil has frozen. This is one of many citizen science projects facilitated by GLOBE, the Global Learning and Observations to Benefit the Environment program.
What's going on? What did you find out?
It's the ice!
How far down is the ice?
It's a long way.
So is there still liquid in there?
It's a worldwide program that, so far, has collected over 130 million measurements from more than 10 million students in 113 countries.
Are you scientists?
Yeah.
These measurements are added to a massive worldwide database that's free and open to the public.
Globe connects my students with the rest of the world through science and looking at climate change and how it's affecting the future.
Globe teachers like Terry are transforming the way kids see science and how they'll respond to changes in their future environment.
Let me see your happy face.
Actually, we were so impressed with the kids of John Fredson's school that we decided to show their work to the scientists in the original NASA Explorers Cryosphere series. And they had a couple things to say.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Oh my god.
Do you like going outside to do science? Why? How far down is the ice?
That's awesome.
Wow, this is really, really cool.
Hey students from Miss Terry's class, I just got to see your video. I was so impressed that you guys were braving the conditions of the snow and all the crazy stuff to go and learn more about the permafrost and where the water layer is right outside your school. That looked incredible.
It is so exciting to see you guys and girls doing such great work as we watch our planet change over time.
Hey there, young scientists. Looks like you guys are doing some amazing things. Remember to keep warm and take notes, and also stay curious.
Oh my god, this is awesome. I love seeing the enthusiasm of these kids. They're outside, it's obviously really cold, but everyone is so excited to be out there making measurements for NASA. That's wicked cool.
Because you're so right, science is so fun, and I really hope that you'll continue believing in that. The best piece of advice I ever got was, whatever you do, do your best.
And from all of us here at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, remember, dare mighty things.
So keep up the great work. Make sure that you're having fun no matter what. That's the key thing about pursuing a career in science. Make sure it's something that you love. And I'm really impressed. So hopefully we'll take the lessons you're learning and apply them when we explore our solar system.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Hi everyone, and now back to your marine forecast. First of all, the sea ice edge, still plenty of ice up in the Chukchi Sea and the Beaufort. The ice forecaster told me a little bit of advancement toward the shore on the Beaufort side of the sea. Then looking at southeast, fairly light winds around 10 knots on the outside with seas up to 5 to 6 feet or so. 15 knots in Lynn Canal out of the north, seas 3 feet. And then 15 knots out of the southeast for Clarence Strait, seas 3 feet, and a mixed bag in the middle. And then tomorrow you can start to see the winds start to ramp up a little bit. Southerlies 20, gusts 35 in Lynn Canal, but otherwise generally 10 knots in most of southeast. However, we see southerlies picking up about 20 knots and seas 5 feet as we get over to Cape Suckling. And then for south central, we've got a variable 10 knots, seas ranging 4 to 5 feet on the outside, but southerlies 25 knots in Cook Inlet and 15 knots as you get down by Augustine or so. And then as we get to Saturday, the winds start to ramp up a little bit, 15 knots, seas 5 feet on the outside, but the southerlies are going to be about 20 knots with seas 6 feet as you get over toward Cape Suckling or so. In the inlet, southeast 15 knots, seas 4 feet for the Augustine area. And then for the Alaska Peninsula and Kodiak Island, southwesterly start to pick up a little bit, around 15 to 20 knots. Seas 5 to 6 feet on the Pacific, on the Gulf side, and then on the Bering Sea at around 4 to 5 feet. And then for Saturday, winds really start picking up 25 knots down off of Sandpoint and seas 10 feet as that low develops in the Bering Sea. And then for the Aleutian chain, we've got winds around 15 to 20 knots or so. On the Pacific side, seas up to 9 feet, a little bit of swell coming out of that low that's developing there. But on the Bering Sea side, seas ranging 5 to 7 feet or so. And then for Saturday, you can see the wind starting to ramp up around the circulation of that low, generally westerlies or so, winds 15 to 25 knots. On the Pacific side, seas up to 10 feet, and on the Bering Sea side, wind seas ranging from anywhere from 4 to about 8 feet. And then for the west coast, northerlies start to kick in as that low develops in the Bering Sea. 20 to 25 knots or so, with the seas in south of St. Lawrence Island about 8 feet or so. As we get down into the Bering and closer to low center, winds more different directions, about 15 knots or so, seas 4 to 5 feet. And then looking for Saturday, the winds start to ramp up just a little bit, ranging from 10 knots up at Norton Sound, all the way up to 20 knots as you get down to the Pribilofs or so, and seas ranging 4 to 5 feet as you get further south. For the Arctic coast, we've got some westerlies along the north slope, but it's only 5 to 10 knots. We got some ice up there, seas 2 feet in the Chukchi. But notice the Bering Strait is 20 to 25 knots and seas ranging up to 8 feet. And then as we get to Saturday, winds start to ramp up again a little bit. Easterlies along the north slope, 15 to 20 knots, but then as you go down to the Bering Strait, about 15 knots and seas 3 to 4 feet. So looking at tonight's weather, again, weak low off of Haida Gwaii, about 1,007 millibars, and a developing low, about Amchitka or so, about 1,001 millibars. Weak low in southwestern Alaska, 1,005 millibars, and that's starting to ramp up, and it's going to be merging. Looking at Friday's weather, we got 999 millibars low now, not too far from Adak, and then 1,000 millibars in the center of the state. And then also 1,012 millibars off of Haida Gwaii. It's really weakened out down there. But these two lows are starting to merge, and the precipitation pattern is really ramping up, moving into south central, all of southwest Alaska, and the Bering Sea. And then finally on Saturday, extensive rain for most of the state as a 995 millibar low moves upward toward southwest Alaska. Thanks for tuning in, and everybody really stay safe out there on the water. Thanks again.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.